Okay, we're fine. Oh, the stream is live, it tells us.
Okay. Cool.
I think we're live then.
Nice. Hi.
So hello to the club.
Hi, it's our first time.
Yeah, it's our first time. First time live, right?
Yes,
Joanna?
I've never done anything like this. Have you?
Okay. No. Well, I've done like a live, but not in this club. So that's our first similarity. There you go.
Okay.
Boom.
Great.
So
we're both members.
hello to the club. My name is Asha. And this is Joanna. And we are welcoming you to our 10 Things in Common. I think not only, but that's the name of our stream or our member interview. So let's get to it, I guess.
Okay.
Maybe we should. I hope we're online. I think Nina is checking. She's going to let us know in case something is wrong. So I think our first similarity, or second actually, is that we are both Joannas.
So what's the story about that? Why do you not use Joanna?
I actually wanted to show you my ID that I actually am Joanna, but I cannot find it now. But yeah.
Prove it.
You want proof? Okay, I'm gonna prove it. I am a Joanna Fendrychová.
Okay.
There you go. That's me. I am officially Joanna, and all the funny story. Well, I don't know if it's funny, but all Joannas in Poland are all Joannas are Asias. It's just short for Joanna.
Okay.
And it actually doesn't really make sense if you see it, right? But there are some names that you know of that are like have a shorter version that really doesn't correspond with the long one. So in Czech Republic we have Jan, and guess what is short for Jan?
I have no idea.
Okay, it's Honza.
Okay.
Yeah. So Jan is Honza. I think Peppa is also short for Jacob. No.
Okay.
Joseph. Yeah. So okay. The thing is that it doesn't really like make sense at the when you look at it first time, but Joanna, you can make it shorter with Joasha. It's like actually Joasha, and then you take off Yo, it's Asha. And many names in Poland are like they are like kind of shortened this way. So you have like Basia for Barbara, you have Gosia for Małgorzata, you have Kasia for Katarzyna, Zosia for Zofia, and so on. So when I first came here, I was Joanna, and it's kind of like official. Nobody really tells like Janie something. They say Honza. So it was with similar with me. I felt kind of like awkward that people call me Joanna, and I think the tipping point was when my boss, who was South African, he decided to call me Jojo. And I said, no, this is horrible. He never asked me if I liked it. So I said, no, Joanna, never again. I'm going to be Asha. And when I started teaching, I thought it was kind of natural to say Asha, to leave it as Asha. But I'm officially Joanna.
So is that because of the relationship that you have with your students? Like it's a little more friendly?
I don't think it's more like it's just natural for me to be called Asha than Joanna. And only like teachers in school called me Joanna.
Okay.
So maybe it's kind of like symbolic a little.
Okay.
I don't want to be like a teacher at school.
I don't know if anyone is watching us live or not yet, but maybe we should clarify our origins because not everyone.
Yeah, because that's going to be our third similarity.
Okay.
Because we are expats living in a different country. So, so where are you from?
So I'm from Canada, a place called New Brunswick, which is part of the Maritime Provinces. I grew up speaking only English in an Anglophone family.
Mm-hmm.
Brunswick is right beside Quebec, though. So I was always interested in French. And I went to Quebec to learn French, and I met a guy from France. And so that's where I ended up. I have been in France since for about 12 years, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And
For 12. Okay.
yeah, about 12. Yes. And you?
I've been living here 17 years. Yeah, this year it's going to be 17.
In Prague.
In Czech Republic, yeah. And I'm originally from Poland.
Okay.
And I moved here in 2007. I just graduated for my studies. And I met this guy for similarity or fifth. I met this guy who was Czech, and he's my husband now.
Me too. Yeah. Not yours, but my own.
So yeah, so I mean, I never like dreamt of like my whole life that I'm gonna live here. It wasn't really something that I was considering. I've been to Czech Republic. I didn't know any Czech when I was moving here, and we just I met Adam and I said, okay, I finished my studies. I don't feel like I want to stay in the city where I studied. I don't feel like moving back to my hometown. I'm not sure where I want to go. If I find a job in Czech Republic, I'm just going to move here. And I did. I found work in HR. I didn't want to go. I didn't want to teach. I actually did find a job to teach, but I said, okay, I don't want to be a teacher. I started working in. I started doing something else. And I kind of stayed. It was supposed to be for like 2 years maybe, and then go somewhere else. But I'm still here. So
Okay. For me, it was similar. It was just supposed to be like try it for a year, and then we're still here. But
and how was it? How is it different, or what are like the things that you like living where you live in France? And what are the things that you miss?
Well, I think what I describe to people a lot is I like the intrigue or the just the difference of being an expat, because anything that you do every day is a little more interesting than if you were doing it just back home, where it's your language, your culture. I love the food, the importance we give to things like that, like around meal times, which is very different in Canada. Things are done more quickly.
So you spend more time for preparation,
Yes,
meals,
sitting at the
like
table. Yeah. Before that used to kind of annoy me because sometimes meals can be so long. But maybe as I got more and more comfortable with the language, I enjoyed it more, because before, like having a meal with my in-laws that would last hours in the evening was really hard for me, but it's easier now. It's still a little challenging, but I'm able to enjoy things like that more. And like when we go to a restaurant, it's just so good.
And what do you miss?
I don't really know. Maybe so, like the things that I like about France can also be things that I prefer in Canada. It's not super clear, but like in France, maybe there's a lot of importance given to appearance and how things should be done. This is the way. Whereas in Canada, it's more like, because it's such a melting pot of cultures and people, it's kind of like anything goes, and you can be super casual when you go out. There's not one way that you're supposed to do things. But I guess I feel good living somewhere that is not where I'm from originally as an expat. And I would be worried that I would feel bored if I went back.
Really?
But I'm not here because I don't like Canada. Like some people are like, oh, but Canada is so good. It's like I never said it wasn't, but life happens in ways that you just end up staying, and I think that you can be happy anywhere.
Yeah, I think
Or
so
sad.
too. Yeah, when I was younger, I used to travel. I mean, I still travel a lot, not in the same way,
Yeah.
but I just realized that sometimes I was like escaping from something that I didn't like about myself or my life. And now I've found that, let's say, I realize that happiness is not really where you are. It's like inside you. So you can like do the most boring thing, but be happy, or travel and be happy, or not travel and be happy. So it's like really state of mind, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
So how often do you go back to Canada?
Well, I've gone quite a lot, and I have gone 3 summers in a row. So I'm going to take the summer off and enjoy. I'm going to rest, work, and stay in France.
Uh-huh.
And what about you?
I go quite often. I mean, well,
It's
in
closer.
comparison, Poland is not that far from Czech
Mm.
Republic, to be honest. And when I was BK, so before kids,
Mhm.
I could like take a train on Friday at 6 p.m. and be there at 10:30 at the border, because I live close to the Czech-Polish border, or I used to live close to the Czech-Polish border, and my mom would pick me up, and then I'd go back on Sunday. So it's really not that far.
Mm.
And Poland is so much bigger than Czech Republic. So for me, it's actually like really not that far if you think about it. So I'm used to these kind of, let's say, distances.
Mm.
And now I go like, I don't know, every 3 months more or less. Now I need to go to the hairdresser. Like really, the last time I've been to Poland was in for Christmas. And it's the
Mhm.
last time I've been to the hairdresser, so I feel like really self-conscious about my hair now. So yeah, I'm gonna go hopefully in June or July for sure.
And there are no hairdressers in the Czech Republic?
No, for the 17. No, there are no hairdressers that I accept or I have tested and been happy with. I'm
Okay.
quite peculiar about my hairdresser. So I still have mine in Poland. So after 17 years, wow, actually, when I say it out loud, it sounds funny, but yeah,
I'm just joking. Maybe,
that's how it is.
maybe we should. So let's summarize. What have we got so far? Our name,
Our
technically,
name,
Joanna,
we're both expats living in a foreign country.
living and working. Yeah.
Um,
What else do we say?
Oh, we have a wallpaper with trees in the back.
I feel like there's more significant ones.
I mean, yeah.
Well,
Well, okay.
we'll come back to it. But what was I going to say? Maybe we should give like a little better introduction of ourselves as well, like our business.
Yeah.
And then we can go to questions.
Yeah, we're gonna do that after we find
Wow.
the similarities. But I think maybe we could like finish off the personal side, because there are a few there are a few summaries. Yeah, similarities.
Yeah.
Oh my
Okay.
gosh, I'm like looking at a word summary and then saying it. Because I know you have 2 kids,
Yeah.
boy and a girl.
Yes. So, and yeah, we've got the opposite in ages. So
Yeah.
my daughter is 9 and my son is 4.
Mm-hmm.
And you?
My daughter is 6. My son is 8. Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
they're a little bit older than yours. And we do both have husbands who are not
Well,
expats, but
no, that
different language than we do. Like their
yeah.
native language is different.
Yeah, because we're not only expats, because sometimes you have expats, and
Mhm.
I don't know.
Yeah,
It feels like maybe a little bit of a simpler experience if you're both expats. Whereas we've had to adapt to, a different culture, living in a different culture, but even having a relationship with someone who has a different culture. It's
Oh
significant.
yeah,
The
that's a
language
topic
too.
of its own, I think, of having like a husband who is from a different like cultural background. Do you have like conflicts or
Yes.
interesting stories from that?
So it's way better now. I think that's kind of, it's normal even if you don't have a different language, but it's even more significant with us. So like I'm from Canada, and we're stereotypically quite like polite and try not to rock the boat, and want everyone to be happy. Maybe kind of more calm way of speaking. And I remember feeling like sometimes just in the very beginning that like my French husband was like annoyed at me or angry because of the inflection in his speech and just being more expressive. And then very early in our relationship, I met his parents who came to visit in Canada. And I was observing them in the kitchen, like, and it was very loud. And it sounded, if you didn't understand the language, it sounded like they were angry to me. And I was like, oh, okay. It's just the
Oh,
way of
it's so funny.
speaking.
I had the exact same story, but the other way around, because my hubby thinks I'm like, he says when he sees me and my mom speaking, well, now he understands what we are saying, but
Okay.
he says like, he thinks like we are like fighting or bickering or something like this. I'm like, no, we're just like expressively discussing stuff. And he sometimes, when we have like a more vigorant conversation, let's say, he's like, stop like shouting at me. And I'm like, I'm not shouting. I'm just like being more
I say
expressive.
that to him too.
And still after so many years, he like goes like, Asha, calm down. I'm like, no, I'm not like, I'm not angry or anything. It's just my way of expressing myself sometimes. So we have it other way around. We are more expressive.
It makes me think of other things too. Like, what was I going to say? Oh yeah. And in the opposite way, he felt frustrated when I would be like almost overly polite and I wouldn't just like make a decision about like where we were going or what we were doing because I didn't want to like, yeah. But it even makes me think about like watching you interact with someone on the train. Remember when I said like, you're so
we went back together from Brno, Prague. Yeah. And Joanna kept saying there were some issues, and she was like, no, it's fine. I'm like, no, I'm going to tell the lady, ask about it, because we couldn't order some food on Regejet. Doesn't matter why, but we couldn't. We had to ask the lady to help us, and she helped us. It wasn't an issue.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I remember when you don't understand what people are saying, it feels more, I don't know, it can look like people are upset but that's something that I have had to work on, because if I stay as Canadian as when I arrived in France, I would get walked all over. And so I think that's interesting. Like I've kept, my politeness, but I have improved, but it's taken a long time. And there's still, a ways to go to make sure that I'm more like assertive and have a little more bold communication style. But it's interesting because it comes from the culture, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe
But yeah. And living there in France for so many years, do you feel your heart is still Canadian, or are you kind of like drifting towards
I guess I'm just like in the middle. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's okay with me. What about you?
I feel I'm Polish at heart. Even though I know the language, I have a lot of Czech friends. It's kind of in the middle. That's true, but I don't think it will ever be on the Czech side. Let's say it's like kind of the longer I am away from my country, the more I miss it sometimes. or I
Okay.
miss the good things. When I go there, I can see like the bad things.
Wait a minute. Yeah.
Okay, super. I think we have 5 things in common. We could move on to things to teaching so that it's more interesting, maybe. I don't know if more
Yeah.
interesting, but it's definitely something that we have in common. We're both English teachers.
Yeah.
So who do you teach? What kind of students do you have?
So, like you, right now I have half and half. So I try to stay around 18 hours of teaching, and half of that is kids and
Mm-hmm.
teens, half of the hours, and the rest is professionals, normally, like mainly one on one. Sometimes I have a group of 2. Um, and I have been doing this for almost 4 years on my own. And before that, I was an employee in a language school.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
And you?
Yeah, I have it. Actually, that's a big similarity I think we have because I'm also teaching, I think, 19 hours at the moment.
Okay.
Even though I finished in April, I finished my office job because I also had a part-time office job. But then I also took on new students because I had
Mhm.
a few, let's say, lined up with people interested. So now I have 19 hours, and it's also a mix of adults and kids. I teach at a community center with the kids groups
Mm.
and adults as well. I have a few groups. I have also individual students, and it's a mix. Yeah, I think I have like 7 groups of kids, and
Okay.
then the rest is adults.
Mm.
But it's been like a big change for me because like last year, I think it was more kids than adults. But
Mm.
then I also had my office job, and I really wanted to transition more to being a teacher of adults. And I think that's also a similarity we share. So, like a 7th one, that when we talked about it, I think you wanted to also have fewer kids lessons, have
Yes.
adults, right?
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm just looking at the group to see if it's working. Oh well. We'll get there.
Yeah, it was working. I saw it.
Um, yes. So I was going to say, what do you prefer? So I would say yes. I think we both prefer teaching adults, but why then? Big question. Why are you still teaching children?
I think for me, it might be like a mixture of things. One thing is that I actually think it's a bit easier teaching kids, or
In some
uh,
ways.
yeah, you don't like really need advanced English. You need more like energy, and I feel like kids like me, and I can teach them like in a fun way, and I actually
Mm.
like doing that. The problem is that if I do too much of it, I am quite exhausted. I need to kind of find a way to get my strength back because it's fun like for 1 hour, but it's not fun for 3 hours.
Mhm.
So it's a thing that like that I have this like my energy levels like fluctuate quite a lot. So I need to be mindful of that and not take on too many kids groups. Um,
Mhm.
and yeah, I feel like I am developing more with adults. Like I have started teaching more or less 1 year ago, using English coaching,
Mhm.
language coaching methods, which kind of change a little bit the way that I teach adults. Um, and it gave me a bit of more structure, how to teach, and I actually can explore uh, much more with adults than I
Mhm.
do with kids.
Yeah. Same.
Same,
Yes.
similar.
So how many similarities there? A lot. Yeah. Yeah.
But do you enjoy working with kids? Like, would you like just like throw away all your kids groups if you could?
It's hard To answer that, because I think I like the variety of having kids groups, because I think that we're both the type of person that needs a bit of like mix it up. But sometimes I'm like, I think I would be less tired if I was not teaching children. So yeah, it's a tricky question, but what I have decided for now is I will only keep it to the ones that I have like trained and they know how to work with me, because the whole new groups and some of them discipline problems, I'm not interested in that, because the
Really?
no, like the intrigue and the, you know, of teaching adults is they want to be there and they want to hear what you have to say, whereas children, it's almost like you have to like convince them.
Mm-hmm.
I agree that I do really like teaching adults because you can go deeper,
Mm-hmm.
but there's something rewarding in teaching children, and I think I'm a little bit stubborn, and I feel like it's a little bit of a challenge to teach children, and so I
It
don't want
is.
to give up.
It is. It's kind of like a different challenge, isn't it? Because like on a like language wise, it's not that challenging, right? But it's like a whole different thing. And I love that they are so genuine
Yes.
with like expressing themselves and their like happiness or sadness or whatever. Like it's really like easy to see if you're doing well or not, because you can see the result like of them being happy and active and so on.
Mm-hmm. And
Yeah.
sorry, I do find also that sometimes, you know, when you have a low energy day, they can kind of give you energy
Hmm.
because they're so different like that. But I do sometimes feel like I need to be careful not to do too many hours as well, hours in general, and then children's hours. So I save energy for my own children.
Yeah.
I had been teaching on Wednesdays this year, and Wednesdays are a day in France that children don't have school. So I made the decision to stop that for next year. So that means that I can spend time with my own children instead of someone else's children on that day.
Hmm.
So once I made that decision, I felt very relieved, because I struggle with making decisions. And so when I have
Hmm.
it's better. So we'll see what next year.
With making decisions, I have the same. That's why I actually kept my job, my office job, for such a long time, because I wasn't sure if I can make it, if I'm going to manage,
Mhm.
if I can do like only freelance. And I like being independent. I don't want to be depending on somebody else's income.
Mhm.
So even though like I can, because my husband makes a bit more money than I do, but you never know, what's going to
Mhm.
happen. So I was brought up by my mom only, and so she like kind of instilled this independence thing in me. So it's
Mhm.
sometimes weighing me down as well, because you're not sure if you should like um, let all of it go, just try it and see what happens, or like keep your like job that is like stable and you do your
It's a
table
safety
on
net.
safety net. Yeah. Mhm. So it
So
was kind of like, yeah, it was a challenge to say no, but I'm glad I finally did.
so mm, why or how did you decide to go for it and leave your job?
Mm. Yeah, it kind of, well, it was okay. I've been working in HR, just to kind of like go from the
Mhm.
beginning. I've been working in HR since 2007. So I had different types of office jobs and HR specialist, HR manager, and so on. When I went on maternity leave, that completely changed my perspective or my way of
Mhm.
thinking, because all of a sudden I had small people to take care of. I felt a bit of lost. I didn't feel the values that are in that company are my values anymore. So I kind of I have a degree in English, so I said I tried this community center that my kids went to sometimes, if they were looking for like somebody to teach English because they didn't have English courses. And the principal, she said, yeah, actually, yeah. So I started with adults.
Okay.
Um, and then they asked if I wanted to teach kids, and I said, yeah, well, I'm gonna try it. And it was like really like a very slow kind of like building up of my courses. And then people started asking if I like teach private lessons and so on. It was kind of like developing to a point where I basically had to decide if I go that way or that way. So I had to decide if I go either I increase my time in my company, because in the meantime I came back from my maternity leave, to my company for a part-time position, or I only teach because I was so stressed I couldn't manage everything, and I my work-life balance was up to yeah, it was completely chaotic.
I
So
remember.
I just had to decide, and I said, okay. First time I gave my resignation was in November last year. They convinced me I should stay, give me a pay raise.
It didn't work.
Yeah, they gave me like a higher position and so on. And then I said, okay, I'll try, let's see. But then I knew it wasn't about the money, so I just left anyway. So I gave
I
resignation, and it worked.
Congratulations. It's a big deal. Yeah.
Yeah, it felt really weird in the beginning. I felt like, okay, freedom, whatever. But then my first day without the office job,
Hmm.
was so weird because it was kind of like, I'm on my own. I have to
What do I
manage
do?
my own. I have to like accept myself if I procrastinate or do nothing, or manage some things to in a timeline, which is, I think, another similarity we share.
Um,
I think we've realized that we are both neurodivergent, and I don't think you don't have it diagnosed, do you?
No, so I don't have a official diagnosis, but in fact, there's so many things I want to say. When I started working for myself on Facebook, I found a bunch of groups, and one that I came across was, I don't remember, like neurodivergent entrepreneurs or something like that.
Mhm.
And I
Mhm.
got into it, and it was also just for women. And everyone was describing all of these struggles and like quirks, if you will. And I was like, wait a minute, that's me.
Yeah.
And I felt really glad to have figured out that I'm not lazy, and it's not that other people are more they're better at adulting than I am. I just
Mhm.
have executive functioning malfunction, I think. And so I don't know if I will get a diagnosis or not, but I'm pretty sure that I have ADD. And now I have been experimenting for 4 years in how to make my business and my life work for me. And
Mhm.
now I recognize the strengths that I have in relation to this. And I think there are also a lot of people who are self-employed who are like us because I think they like the challenge and the variety of tasks.
Mhm. I think that's something we've already talked today about, right? That we
Yeah.
like having both kids and adult people because we like variety, and if something is constant and the same, we lose motivation.
Mm.
Do you have this?
Yeah. And
Mhm.
so it's true that it's challenging to be like this, but I think that we also like when we are very interested in something, there's the concept of hyper focus. Like I can get a lot done if if I'm interested.
Yeah. Yeah, me too.
It's
So you
not-
got to do what you're interested in, but you have to be careful so it doesn't get boring. Then it's
Yeah, and
then
also that
you're
you don't burn yourself out, I think.
constant struggle.
Yeah. Um,
Joanna, how do you manage? Because okay, I think we've talked about it in length, about how similar we are in this, and that we are. I think we are both neurodivergent. how do you manage like this work-life balance, having two kids, um, job that you need to take care of, like, and the whole like business? How do you manage? What are some things that help you?
Well, obviously, I don't, but some things that do help a little. My strategies are always evolving, and something will work for a while and then it stops working and I have to do it a different way. But I will try to think of like the most practical things, and then maybe you could do the same. And these might help anyone, even if you're the most neurotypical. I have Calendly, which is a scheduling tool that people probably know about. That has helped protect myself from myself because that's how my adult students schedule their lessons now.
Mm-hmm.
And before I make the link live for like the next 3 months, I very carefully look at it to make sure that it's going to suit me. And so I have like blocks that are not available, blocks of teaching back to back. Because in the past I would just, say, okay, I'll do that. And then I realize I'm working way too many hours, or I'm working a time that I didn't mean to be working.
Mm-hmm.
So I use that. I use my Google Calendar. What else do I use? I'm very poor with paper, so I'm trying to mainly use my Google Drive now and like hyperlink different things.
Mm-hmm.
So it's simple for me. What else? I also have a designated place to work, and I tried not to work outside of it because the times that I do, I'm like, I'll just sit on the couch. I don't actually get any work done.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
have the same. I
but
have
to just signal to your brain like this is where you work and you're not working somewhere else. And I guess I just try to like make sure I have time for myself and breaks, because when you have two small children and I have no family close by, it's us or us.
Yeah.
So I integrate into my working day, because it's their school day, time where I'm not working. And even maybe full days like Friday, I try not to teach, for example, so that I can be sure that my battery is not empty for my family.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
When you have such a sociable job, I find that I need time alone as well. And basically, I don't know, maybe the last thing is just trying not to work too many hours, because before, I don't know, you say yes to any and everything in terms of student or number of lessons. And as you go, I think you can start to see that it's not sustainable. What do you have to add? That was a monologue.
It's this exhaustion funnel. I think I had it with my students recently. It's like, if you say, if you're like under stress or overwhelmed, the first thing you let go of is usually the thing you like.
Yes.
And that actually gives you energy. So you kind of deplete yourself even more energy. And okay, it's like a week goes by, it's still like stressful. So you like stop seeing friends, because that's another thing you can get rid of. And then it's like goes like lower and lower. And actually at some point you're at a break point and either like depressed or burnout or something like this. So I had it with a few groups of students recently that, when you are overwhelmed with or stressed, you should not give away something that gives you the energy. The other way around, you should kind of like make some time for something that will give you this energy to continue with whatever stressful situation you're going through or overwhelmed. And
go ahead.
Yeah, and I think like with us, it's like when we are when our brains work the way they do, sometimes they just like go into this kind of like overdrive, like this like speed highway sometimes, and I kind of overthink things, and then I need a break from my brain.
Mm-hmm.
So I also look for things that help me get out of my head and into my body more.
Mm-hmm.
So outside of like the scheduling and the blocking, I actually in my schedule, in my calendar, I also block time for me.
Mm-hmm.
No one can get like there. So like let's say on Monday morning between 8 and 9 was like my hour. Like I'm not organizing anything, like taking kids anywhere, doing anything else than something for myself, like my exercises.
Mm-hmm.
So I schedule time for me, for just something for myself.
Mm-hmm. Me too. Yeah.
A few years ago, I came across the concept of mindfulness. So it helped me. I've done a few courses, and I'm also actually a mindfulness teacher. So it helped me to get out of my head and be in my body more.
Mm-hmm.
I have exercises that get me out of my highway sometimes. Or in the morning, I take a cold shower every morning. I sometimes scream in the shower. I hope you didn't hear in Brno.
No, but I was going to say, here is something we do not have in common.
No, that's fine because everybody has a different way of coping. And then this is my way. And I know that I need to get out of my head and
Mm-hmm.
into my body more. And this kind of stops all this kind of like planning and whatever I need to do in my head. And I kind of like wakes me up. Instead of like having a cup of coffee in the morning, I have a cold shower and then I have a coffee a bit later. And things like that. So like going barefoot, like walking barefoot in a park, or doing things that help me get out of my head and into my body more.
Mm-hmm.
Is something that helps me a lot to manage my
So,
work-life balance, let's say.
um, something that helps me as well, because like I can get very tired by myself as well, just the overthinking and not just making a decision that is more in line with what I actually want for myself and my business, is music. Like
Mhm.
I can get stuck thinking in a certain way, and then if there's a song that helps me, like kind of an affirmation, I'll listen to it over and over again until it sticks, until I forget the next time. But um, I liked what you said about how often, if we're tired or overwhelmed, we'll let go of the things that well, some of the positive things. And so, like, okay, on a personal level, but also even last week, I felt a bit too busy. So I tried to lighten my class schedule, and it didn't really work because some of my students were like, no, please, I want a lesson. But what I would like to do going forward is find ways to make sure I have a lot more things I enjoy doing in my business and minimize or simplify all the other things.
Mhm.
Have you had any luck doing that? Like reducing the tasks that are just busy work?
Well, it then depends what tasks you don't like. What would you get rid of?
Oh, I don't know. I'm not sure exactly, but I just have been feeling like I'm busier than I should be, if you will. Like that, say, like Friday, if that's supposed to be my day off, but I just do a lot of admin, that's kind of a shame. Like I could either just use it for teaching people I enjoy teaching or do something just for me. So I
Mhm.
think that next year I want to make sure that I have, I don't know, better systems in place. Do you have
Mhm.
any tips?
I think Nina had it during our Brno festival. She mentioned something that I tried to do, and I
Mhm.
think it's a great tip. And she mentioned delegating.
So I need to figure out what I can delegate. Yeah. Do you
Yeah,
delegate anything?
she had a talk about, for some people who weren't at the festival, she had a talk about the 20 lessons
Mhm.
for 20 years in ELT, and one of the lessons was delegating. And actually, at this moment, it's at 12:17 at the moment, we have a cleaning lady in my house, which is something that I have delegated.
Oh, good.
because I'm not the most like organized person, and
Really?
it's something that was really surprisingly. But we've been roomies in Brno, so I think Joanna knows that we have it's similar for us. Um, and this is something that we've decided, like it was something that was not working between me and my husband because he was angry that I was disorganized and things were lying around, and mainly it's like kid stuff, and I cannot organize everything because I would go crazy. So we have decided to have a cleaning lady once every 2 weeks. So that's one thing we've delegated. But in terms of like business, I don't have. Okay, I've done my own website. I
Me
did
too.
meet once with a lady who does. She does. She's an assistant. What's it called? A virtual assistant. Yeah.
Yeah.
She was supposed to set up simple shop for me. No, not simple, something else. Doesn't matter. But then by the time like we looked at it, and I decided I figured it out myself pretty quickly. I decided not to actually outsource that or delegate that because it would. I wanted to do it like my way, and it was like pretty easy to learn.
Well, I
I
think that's a
you
similarity as
had
well. Sorry, I was going
no,
to say.
yeah.
We get so excited about like the different things that we can easily get off track, I think.
Yeah, that's true. That sometimes we kind of get excited about
I'll do it.
something
I
that
can
we
do
can
it.
learn, but it's really getting away from our main point. But I am a person who loves learning new things, so I don't really mind. And if the business goes slower, okay, that's fine. There was something else I wanted to say, and we stopped.
We knew the talk would go like this.
I know another similarity. I think we are at 8 or 9 at the moment.
Okay, good job. I'm not counting.
I'm more or less counting, yeah, because we're supposed to get to 10, and that's our goal, yeah.
Yes.
I have another one. You had I don't know if it was a course or some kind
Yes.
of meetings with Jen Hill from our club, who I know that helped you organize the how you prepare the lessons, right? Because she helped you. She has the plant method, which, as far as I know, helps you with the preparation. So did that really help you with how much time you spent preparing the lessons, or what did that help you with this cooperation?
Yeah, so it's so much more than just preparation, but infomercial. Yeah, so Jen, the way she described her plant method that she teaches to other teachers was just like exactly the way I teach, but just better, like more.
Okay.
I don't know, intentional, and like she knew the reason behind why she was doing it, and following her course was really, really helpful. So much more than like CELTA or anything, really, because it's very practical, hands-on, and I could apply it right away. And so that is how I plan now. So it's great because I plan once or twice a week for maximum 2 hours, which could almost sound like a lot, but it means that everything is very well planned, and I can use basically the same thing for everyone. And when I do the lesson, what?
Do you do that? Like that you have one lesson topic and you apply it to everyone?
Because what I do is I have a document where I synthesize people's errors and struggles, and then I find what is most common that would pretty much work for everyone. And they feel like this is different from Jen, but they feel like it's a custom lesson because they're like, I didn't know that. Oh, that's really good. That's helpful. And I do custom vocabulary review for each student. And so it really does help them see their progress. So it's great and enjoyable. Yeah. Wow. So I did a thing today where ChatGPT made me a schedule for my day. And I got all of my planning done this morning.
Awesome. Cool.
So, done. Yes.
Okay.
An
The reason
example.
I said it's a similarity, and actually that sounds
Yes,
really cool what you did with Jen. So
you need to do
look
it.
into
It's
that. Yeah,
the
because
best.
my struggle now is a little bit that when I teach more of individual lessons, more adults, and I try to do it as much customized as possible, like meeting the students' needs, which actually takes quite a lot of my time. So the good thing with kids is that I don't need so much
It's
preparation
not the
time
same.
anymore.
Yeah.
It's a bit like it's faster. I just go there, or I do already have a lot of like things that I have, but the games I kind of either have like recycle them or do something else, and I sometimes do it on the spot as well. um,
Mm.
and with adults I have to, if they are more customized, the lesson plans, or I sometimes I don't have lesson plans, but the topics for discussion and so on, I spent a bit more time on that, and I am struggling with this a little bit more because I let go of my office job, but I have more individual
Yeah.
clients now who have individual needs, and I spend more time catering to those needs and being there for them. So I do need a little help somehow. Maybe I'll think of it about it over the summer, how to kind of make it work better for me, because now I do have a lot of time spent with the preparation that so I kind of lost the free time that I had.
And
Um,
if I could just clarify, so it's like the structure is the same, but it is individualized because the students' responses to the discussion questions, etc., make it personalized.
mhm,
So that's what's interesting with her method. You can still make it like really specific to their job, etc.
mhm,
There's little things like they do a presentation every other week, things like this. And so it's a way, so yes, you save time, but you're still actually preparing personalized content.
mhm. Okay,
So
cool. Interesting.
it's
Mhm.
because yeah, like me too, I want it to be like so custom, but our lessons would have to be so expensive for it to actually be worth it. I think like you need to find a middle ground.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
anyway, it's
I
very
think,
cool.
yeah,
Mhm.
I think next year I'm gonna think about this area of my work. But you've
Mhm.
worked with Jen, and I have worked with another. I'm still working with another club member, and her name is Lenka Malkova, and she
Yes,
was, and you know her because she went to
the
she had a actually her
festival.
workshop in Brno.
Mm.
So I did her course in language coaching last year, and this year at the moment I'm doing the continuation course, and that helped me a lot with in terms of giving more structure to my lessons,
Mm.
because when I apply the language coaching principles, I can get more deeper into the students' needs, and we can when we set goals, when we look into things that they need and how they can work on them, it gives them more like autonomy in a
Mhm.
sense that they know they kind of figure out what they want to do. And they work more because it's something that they came up with, and they work
Mhm.
in the sense that I don't prepare that much. I do. The thing is, like, I do like because we think of it's a topic or an area, and I do have to do a little bit of research or figure it out, or we look into different sources where they can like listen to something and so on. Um, and but I'm still learning, this like language
Yeah,
coaching. So it's still like up and down with me sometimes. And
that's
because
me
I
too.
have a people pleaser inside me as well,
Oh
sometimes
yes.
it's kind of hard to let go of that and let them do their thing, because you think, if you give more of yourself, it's going to be a better lesson.
Mm.
Sometimes it's not, and I'm still learning to let go of certain things and be more of like a supportive
Like,
uh, role than
mhm.
a teacher role. But they gave me a lot. I think if I could recommend this course to
Okay.
our friends in the club, then definitely I would recommend. It gives me structure. So
I
that's
would.
a ninth similarity.
Mhm. I would also highly recommend Jen's course. Yes. We're going to need more time. No. We're going to have to do a part 2.
Let's see. No, but we could. Yeah, why not? We could do a part 2. I have one more similarity that I thought of this morning, and I wrote you about it. And
yes, about
it's true. You had a consultation with Nina as well.
Yes. So I can tell you why I contacted Nina. Because why not? She's so amazing. But specifically, I was stuck, as I often am, and I need someone to get me out and push me forward, or like help me get there. Because all of the overthinking, I can't like move to the next step. And so I contacted her because I wanted to start a WhatsApp conversation club, but I had never like designed and marketed a product like this from A to Z, kind of, the structure, the pricing. It was just too many details, too overwhelming. And well, she did help me with that like technical side, dates and stuff like that. What she especially helped me with was daring to ask the price that she thought I should, because I was thinking lower. And so that was really good, because there's so much mindset involved in business, and I just think too low, I think. And now the club is finished this week, and I sent a survey, and they all want to continue. And obviously they would be continuing at the same price. So
how many students did you have in this group?
5. And I wanted 6. Oh yeah, and then like we also did a bit of a follow-up, and I was like, they're not signing up. What's going on? She's like, you're being too like vague. You need to say bye tonight at midnight. I was like, oh, I couldn't do that. She's like, yes, people need help getting a little push. And I was like, okay. And it worked. And they were like, take my money. So
cool.
Yeah.
It worked.
Very practical.
Continue? You want to continue with the WhatsApp course? It was something that worked well for you?
Yeah, I love WhatsApp. And I love getting people to communicate practically, speak more often. So it's really quite a perfect product. And so now my new idea is just like, how do I make it a little bit less work? Like, because I was doing like corrections on a document, and now I'm just going to do a bit less of that. And I asked them if they're cool with that. And one guy, he's like, I didn't read them. It's like, great. So people just want to talk.
Yeah, I noticed that if I send long emails or explanations, they're like, I'm sorry, Asha, but I didn't read them. Yeah, it's nice of you.
Work smarter, I think.
Yeah.
So why did you contact Nina?
Yeah, I had my consultation with her about 1 year ago. It was because I really wanted to get more to have group lessons more. And I did have like a group lesson in that community center, but the cool thing about the community center is that you don't need to think about marketing. And I'm the only English teacher there, and they trust me in the way I teach, so I don't have to explain to anybody my methodology and what I do. The bad thing about it is it doesn't, I don't earn a lot of money because it's a nonprofit organization. So I don't want to have too many lessons with them, because if it doesn't add up, like the amount. So I wanted to try to do it on my own, to have group courses. And I do something like experiential group courses. So I like to teach similar like you, hands-on, and do things that are like practical. And I mainly work with women. So we do things that, like, we do pottery, for example, in the community center. We do like pottery, and we talk about English, or we do some kind of meditation, or we do kind of what else did we do? I try to get my students to do presentations. So we travel around the world, or like last week we were traveling around Prague 10 because we have one architect. So she created a game for us. So we were guessing of the buildings. And I supported her with that because she wanted to do a presentation first. But then she gave us like this kind of guessing game, and these were the buildings we knew and so on. So it was kind of like practical. She loved it. Everybody loved it. So I like to do things in an experiential way, where you can experience the language. And I wanted to do courses like that, like offline. And I thought it would be like easy off, like not easy. I thought I would manage offline. And Nina helped me. I wanted to rack her brain a little bit because she has a lot of experience with experience courses. So she did help me figure out the structure a little bit, which I am using, but I didn't manage to do the offline group. It was quite hard post COVID to do like the offline. But I did manage to open up 2 online groups. And the structure that Nina suggested is I do it like quite similar way, because we do a mixture of language coaching techniques, meaning that each of them sets their own goal, the students. I mentor them, I help them with that. And then we do interesting topics that are online. It's less experiential than it would have been offline. But still, we do topics that I give them the ability to choose the topics, and it is quite like lively. And I think it's like I've had pretty good feedback from the ladies that were in the course. So Nina helped me out figuring it out, and even though I didn't manage to kick off the offline ones, I managed to do the online course, and I'm pretty happy about it. So she helped me to figure it out. So thank you, Nina.
Yes, thank you, Nina.
And we have 10 similarities. Lenka and Janet, everybody that we've been in touch. I think what is your, how are you? Because we actually met, 2 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
We met 2 weeks ago, like in person. Brno. How have you been, or how has kind of like life been after the festival? Do you feel it's had an impact on you?
Yeah. I guess anytime I do anything with the club, I feel less alone and I feel more excited about work. More powerful, maybe. When I was coming back, of course, I like backslid. I was like, oh no, what was decided together in the mastermind, I can't possibly do it. But I was like, no, you're being crazy. So I'm going to move ahead with things that I decided while I was there. So that's nice. I don't know what else to say, but
because I remember, I have to ask you about it. I remember I was with you on the same mastermind.
I haven't done it yet, but.
And you had an issue with continuing some kids' classes. You wanted to be assertive and so on. And how did that end up? Did you?
So I haven't done it yet, but it's on my to-do list for tomorrow. Tomorrow, ChatGPT has me doing client contact and things like that. So that's what I'm going to do. Yesterday, I went on a run and I listened to some songs that helped me. And basically, I just wrote the emails in my head about like, depending on who the client is, but I'm going to be honest and explain why. And I listened to a podcast from Mel Robbins as well about people pleasing, and it was really good. And she talked about how people are allowed to not be happy with your decision, and you have to give them space for that. So I thought that was nice, like respecting both sides. But what you said before about like kids' classes, and someone asked me to do this, and I said yes, etc. I think it's so important for us to be careful not to be pulled in just other people's ideas and directions for our business. And I think we're both at risk for that. But it feels so good when you allow yourself to listen to yourself.
Yeah. And it's a journey, isn't it? Because it's just
Mhm.
not so easy. Like, but I think during that festival, you told me that you look into your, like, you have values written
Mhm.
somewhere on a paper, or I think maybe electronic version as well, that you, whenever you're not sure, you go take a look at them
Yeah.
and to decide if it actually meets
It's,
your values, this
mm,
decision, or it doesn't. And I have something similar, and I don't have them written down, but I kind of like have decided which way I want my business to go, in a sense, not in a sense that where I'm going to be in 5 years, but what kind of clients I want to work with and what kind of clients I don't want to work with.
mhm.
So in that sense, like last week, I've also had like 3 parents asking me to continue teaching their kids next year, like form a new group or something, and teach them in someone's private house or something. And I said like, no, no, I'm really glad you want to,
Mm.
honored. But I don't teach kids outside of the community center courses. And actually, I'm reducing them for next
Mhm.
year. So I'm going to have fewer these courses. I don't want to get rid of them altogether, because I have realized that, because I'm not a very social media person in a consistent way, let's say in like promoting myself, a lot of my clients come through the community center in a way that they know that I teach there. They've seen my poster and they contact me in some to have the private lessons, or they also ask me about their kids, but I have learned that um, I say no to that.
Mhm.
But I do have like a community of people who know what I do, how I teach a little bit. So it's quite like, this is kind of my source of students, let's say,
Mhm. Yeah.
as well. So that's good. Oh, we've been talking for a while.
I know. We didn't need what I'll show you. We didn't need any of these. I prepared all of these little questions and
Yeah, we're supposed to
we
pull
managed just one.
the questions, but I think we have 10 things in common.
We'll say we do, yeah.
We do.
I'd say even more.
I think even for sure, even more. I think we didn't mention one for sure, that we both like sports.
Yes. Mm.
And I think for me, physical movement helps me. That's a way for me to get out of my head and into my
Mhm.
body, and manage my fluctuating energy levels.
And I
And
found,
I've loved sports since I was a kid. How is it for you?
oh, not really since I was a kid, but I think even like as a mom, it helps me. But as a business owner as well, I find I feel more confident about my day when I manage. Like if I go for a run before I start working, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm so cool.
Mhm.
And I even had like one time like a runner's high in a lesson after. I was like, whoa, calm down, because
Yeah.
it's so important to do things that help us like be confident, I think, because it's a battle.
Mm.
And I find it's very fluctuating for me. Like one day I'll be like, man, I'm super cool boss bitch. And then another day I'm like, I'm really crappy. And it's horrible because it's there every day, like there's no reason. But it's something. Oh, one thing maybe to add is that I want to start doing, I think, is I saw Jen does a lot of journaling, Jen in the club, and
Hmm.
that's something I don't do. I think I don't allow myself to reflect enough. Do
Hmm.
you? Yeah.
Um, I do it differently. For me, writing is not my way that it's difficult for me. I've never been a good writer. Writing a copy is also like always a challenge. I have this perfectionist in my head that always is
Mhm.
saying, not good enough, not good enough. So I don't enjoy writing that much. But I record messages for myself.
Okay.
So I think about it, but like when you only think about it, kind of stays in your head, gets stuck.
Mm.
I record messages like on my I just go for a walk, for
Mm.
example, and then I speak it out loud, my reflections,
Mm.
and I record myself. That helps me because I've realized it's much easier for me speaking when
Yeah.
and then writing. It was hard for me to do it consistently. The journaling part.
Yeah. Mhm.
But it's true that reflection is something that we often don't do enough of.
Mhm. Yeah.
And when you finish something or you've been to a place, you need some quiet time and process it. And if you don't give yourself that time, it's almost gone to waste, the whole time that you spent, for example, on the festival. I needed to like have 2 hours more or less on Monday to kind of sit down and think about it and reflect. And I do it like voice messaging. I just record myself, and I never really listen to them again. It's just kind of when you say it out loud, like this kind of self-talk.
Yeah.
It helps you kind of process it as well.
Maybe you should have a WhatsApp club. If you like.
I should, yeah. I'm thinking. I think we talked about it a bit, and I'm gonna ask you more about it because I was thinking about it for next year. Maybe it would
I'd love
be a
to.
good option.
Yeah. Well, there. Maybe we need to shut it down.
Yeah, we're gonna wrap up shortly. I'm gonna let Nina know we're gonna finish up. So
it was very nice talking to you. I hope it was interesting to other people, not too chaotic.
hopefully, yeah. I don't know. Let's see. I haven't seen many comments yet, but I think it was kind of last minute. This information that we're going to have a discussion today, and hopefully there's going to be a part 2. Maybe we could dive into something more in depth. I don't know, because
yeah, I have a lot of things I want to ask you, or maybe we could just ask them under here and open it up to the group.
Okay, if nobody comments, we can do the commenting so that we'll just continue the discussion in the comments. Yeah.
I always have more things to say. And another thing.
I know. Yeah, I have it too. Yeah. So, okay, I'm going to send a short message to Nina to stop the stream. And in case she cuts us mid-sentence, I wanted to thank you.
Yes, thank you.
For the discussion. Hopefully it was useful for other people as well. Yeah, okay. Sending the message. And then
maybe we'll find some other kindred spirits.
Let's see. So I messaged Nina now, and